guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. I have a very fun track by Motley Crue today. We're going to learn how to play Girls, Girls, Girls. Not sure why I haven't done this one already. I'm not sure. It's got some really cool guitar riffs in it. And I've played it a lot before back in the past, so I don't know. I just slipped my mind, I guess. Anyway, before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And then also ring that little notification bell, so then that'll let you know when I release a new lesson, hopefully, if everything works like it's supposed to. And check out my Guitar Academy. I have a Guitar Academy that contains all my guitar courses and lots of different subjects. We have a great community. Some thousands of people have signed up for it. You'll see the link in the description. It's at GuitarLessons365.com. And check out my merchandise. I got a whole merchandise store. I got my own unique designs like this, but you can only get them there. So you'll see that link below as well. So let's get into it. Now we are in D standard, as Motley Crue does a lot. So this is means you're not going to be drop D. You're not going to take the low E string and drop it down, which a lot of people automatically assume. It's D standard, which means you're tuning your entire guitar down a whole step. So that's going to be, that low E string is going to become a D. The next string is going to become a G, then a C, F, A, and another D. And I'll have those notes written for you in the description as well. All right, so let's get into it. Now, this intro's pretty simple, just strumming a G chord, and then a little bit of a bar dive. So it sounds like this. All right, that's rock and roll right there. So this is not a G major chord, it's like an open G power chord. So what you're gonna be doing is the top two, three, the B and E string, I'm gonna call them B and E, even though we're obviously tuned differently now, but just we're gonna act like it's in standard tuning. The B and the E string, 3rd fret. Open G, open D. And then the 5th string, it's gonna be muted by the bottom of your middle finger. And then the 3rd fret there on the low E string. So that gives it that big kind of rake across the strings. And then that last one, just pull your guitar completely out of tune. And then you're screwed for the rest of the song. Hopefully not. Anyway, now let's get into this man riff. It's one of the coolest riffs of the 80s. All right, so that's a power chord at the 3rd fret on the low E string. So you're gonna basically slide up to the 5th, back down to 3. Then the open low E string, so this. And then you're gonna do a quick little slide from the power chord on the 2nd fret up to 3, back down to 2. Then the open E power chord a couple times, the way this. A little bit slower. Then we're gonna have, so that's the top 2 strings, the open B, open high E. Hit those, and come down and hit that low E a couple times. And then the top 2 strings again, so like this. Then again. Now the second time, the second ending looks like this. So that's the 2nd fret on the A string, and then 3 on the low E, and then 4 on the low E. So you basically repeat that twice, and then start the riff over again. All right, so far we have this. Now this very last time I'm doing this, it's a little bit different. So when you're leading into the verse section, that little, it's not this. that we did earlier that was in the middle of the chorus. Instead, the first 3 notes are the same, so it's 2 on the A, 3, 4 on the low E. But the second time around, go 2 on the A. You're going to add an extra note in here, the low E string, then 3, 4. All right, so basically put the low E in between the 2 and that 3. So this. And that leads us up to the first chord. This is the A power chord that's in the verse. So that ending again. All right, so that's going to happen every time you're going into the verse. All right, so the verse itself sounds like this. All right, so that is just that A power chord. Let it ring. And then jump up here to the double stops here at the 7th fret on the D and the G together. And then you just hit it a little bit of a slight little bar dip there. And then when you go back to play the A power chord again, you're gonna grab the 3rd fret on the low E real quick. And kind of bend it into the kind of a slight bend. Back into the A power chord. So we have this. And then you're gonna do the same thing except play the 9th fret up here with the double stops. Same little bar dive and the same little transition there. So it goes 7, then 9, then 7. And then you're going to end it here with this. So that's just an octave here off the 5th fret of the A string and then the 7th fret of the G string. So you pick that, make sure that D string's muted in between. So pick these notes, slide down to 4, slide back up to 5. It's back and forth between them. So it does 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, so it's 4 times. And that leads us into the chorus, which is a little bit of a kind of an extended version of the main riff that we started with. It looks like this. All right, so basically it starts the same way. So when you do this little lick right there, you're basically gonna come over, instead of grabbing the 3rd fret power chord off the low E, it's over off the A string. And he has the G string in there as well too. So we're gonna, you can do that with a ball with your pinky or just kind of hold the 3-note power chord like that. But it's the same riff that we did on the low strings though. So it's just off the A. So instead of this, we do this. So make sure you get into that part correctly. So we have this. This little lick, and grab that C. Then you don't do any you just kind of chug on that A chord, that A power chord when you get down there. And then back. And then you just kind of hit dun, 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 dun. 4 times you hit that the second time around. So this. And then back to the low E string, the 3rd fret on the low E string, the main riff. Now here we're going back to the verse, so we have to do that extended ending. The one that has the low E string in there. So let me play the whole chorus for you. So it's back to that same, I think that A power chord. I hit 4 or 5 times, whatever, you can hear it. All right, so then it goes back to the verse the same way, same chorus as before. And then we get to the bridge section, which has 2 guitar parts there. There's an overdub of a guitar fill, which I'll show you in a second. But underneath that, we have this kind of... All right, so it's kind of a bluesy thing here. We got, so with this. So that's just the low E string with the 2nd fret on the and then on the A string you have the 2nd fret into the 4th fret. So that little melody is going on the A strings along with always hitting the low E with it. So we have this. Then repeat. All right, pretty simple. If you can just... And then add the bottom string to it. You're going to probably want to palm mute it to keep it under control too. And then we jump up here to the 4th fret power chord off the A string. Hit it twice. Again. And then down to the 2nd fret power chord twice. There it is. And then to the A power chord. And kind of on the upbeats there, you hit this. Hit it like 4 times, and then we're back down to that little bluesy thing. Back to the power chords again. And then the last time I'm doing the bluesy thing is more simplified. It looks like this. So that note is... with the low E in there. All right, now the melody that happens over that when you get to that section, it looks like this. So it's the same melody each time. So it's just a 9/11 on the D. A couple times. And then you're going to jump over here to the the G string and pull off 9 to 8, over to 9 on the D. And then do that again, and end it with the 11th fret there on the G. So it is. All right, so pretty simple stuff. That leads us back into that open G power chord that we had at the intro. And here there's a few overdubs of harmonics you can do. just kind of a little bit away until you start hearing that harmonic there at the 7th fret on the G string. So you can choose to hit that, or just kind of keep hitting the open G chord. All right, and then that takes us back through the, the same riffs, the same exact main riffs and chorus and verse and all that good stuff. All right, so now we just have an outro section that contains a solo. The solo is kind of sparse. He's not trying to do too much stuff. It's got some cool sounding stuff in it though. So, but the solo section has that kind of same little bluesy thing that rotates back and forth between the main riff as well. So we have this. So you can see that's a kind of a combination of that bridge and then the main riff. So that's what's going on there. And then we have underneath that, the solo, or over that, the solo looks like this. All right, so some fun stuff there. We're gonna play these, what's called an oblique bend here. So we're, oblique bend basically means you're keeping one note the same while you're moving the other one. So what we're gonna do here is play the 15th fret on the B, and then the 14th fret on the G, but you're gonna bend up that 14th fret on the G. And while you're doing that, you're gonna just kind of slightly be doing some little whammy bar stuff. So you do that twice. All right, there's a slight pause, and then he does it twice again. And after the second one there, he does a quick little blues lick, which is just a 12th fret on the high E string, pull off 15, 12 on the B, over to 14 on the G, you're gonna do a little bit. But there's a lot of whammy bar stuff on there, so it's kind of detuned sounding. So like that, so it is. All right, and then it goes to the the kind of the C section there of the chorus riff. So that's going to move there underneath this solo, and you're back here to these double stops. So those double stops, so it's kind of the similar lick we did here, except it's 7th fret on the G and the B. Kind of slightly bend them both up a half step while doing some whammy bar stuff with it. Now you can resolve that the first time to the 5th fret there on the G, just on the... And then when he plays those a second time, he ends it with the same lick that he did up here. All right, so it's the same thing, except we're playing the 2 7s out. All right, from there, he goes back to the oblique bend that was up here at the 15th fret. By the way, you're bending both of those 7s here, not holding one of them like we did up here. Then you go back to this oblique bend. So it's basically 4 sections to use it, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then he does some little bit crazy stuff here. It's kind of doing some trill between 12 and 15, but he does a quick bend. And then there's a lot of chaos. We kind of trill in between those two notes and doing some whammy bar, what's called whammy bar flutters, where you just kind of smack it, and you get that crazy little sound out of it. That's how you get it into a bend to end. He does do this. You can hear the trills without the whammy bar stuff at the end. And then we go into this. All right, so that's just kind of repeating 12, 14, 15 on the high E. Then pull off 14 to 12 into that bend there on the B string, 15th fret. All right, and then I'm getting towards the end here. Just the 22nd fret bend. So he did it 6 times basically, and then the third time through there, we have this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The third time, and he's just doing the bend and then picking the note without the bend, and then back to the. Just kind of going back and forth between them. So that's kind of tricky because he's not like releasing it. He's kind of doing the like a pre-bend, then playing the note normal. So you had to kind of separate. All right, so it is. And then go back to playing them just normal. And then we have this little section. All right, so this one's a little bit odd sounding. So what you're doing is you're playing the 6th fret there on the G string, the 8th fret on the B. And then you're gonna move the note on the B string down to the 7. And when you do that, you're gonna do a little slight inflection. You don't do a full half-step bend or anything. Just both of them kind of give that little sitar effect. And then you move that shape down 2 frets. And then you just repeat the beginning of so that little section twice, and then with the same riff. So far we have this. And then end it with a normal riff. Then we have a little free time section, which starts with that bend at that 22nd fret. And then just 22, 21, 19. And then when he gets down here, he's just, it's random. It's not a note for note thing. So you can just do it by starting with like a hammer on, just doing the trills between 19 and 21 and just drag your finger down the string. Until you get to the open string, just flick off to the open. And that is it for Girls, Girls, Girls. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's got some really fun stuff, some really great riffs. It's just a blast to play. All right, I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.